Good evening and welcome to the January 17, 2017 regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council. First item on our agenda tonight is the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like to ask the boys from Cub Scout Troop 1304 to come up here and lead us in the pledge. If everyone could please rise, it'd be great.
This flag's over here, guys. Hang on, everybody's coming. So
Almost there.
you're almost all there.
All right. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, good job.
Excellent job. Next item on our agenda is the reflection. I would like to ask for a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Next, we have approval of minutes, and we have one set of minutes to approve tonight. It is from a work session on January 9th. What is the pleasure of the council?
I'll move approval of the minutes from January 9th.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have
I abstain.
one abstention, so minutes carry 2-0 with one abstention. Next, we have appointments, and we have a few different, we have an appointment and a few reappointments. What is the pleasure of the council?
Mr. Mayor, I'll move a resolution of the council confirming appointments and reappointments to the Educational Enrichment Committee, the Gaithersburg Book Festival Committee, the Police Advisory Committee, and the Transportation Committee. An appointment to the Book Festival Committee is Nicole Hertvik, an indefinite term. Reappointments to the Educational Enrichment Committee, Captain James Simpson, term to expire in January 2019. The Police Advisory Committee for a 2-year term, Andrew Bowe, term to expire January 20th, 2019. And to the Transportation Committee, a reappointment, Larry Seeger, term to expire January 2019.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 3-0. I don't see any of the aforementioned people in the audience this evening, so we will thank them when we see them. Next, we have presentations, and I would like to invite Michelle Potter to join me at the podium. Only Doris will use this.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call up the following. If you could join us here at the podium. Ruth Sally Wyke, Chair of the Kentlands Community Foundation. John Ingracia, Board Vice Chair. Marianne Zylstra, Director of the Kentlands Community Foundation. The 23rd Annual Kentlands Lakelands 5K was held the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, hosted by the Kentlands Community Foundation in partnership with the City of Gaithersburg. The foundation hosts the race to raise funds, promote volunteerism, and showcase the benefits of new urbanism and walkable communities. Approximately 1,000 participants finished in the 5K, and approximately 300 children completed the Kids Fun Runs, making this event the largest 5K event in Montgomery County. The course is certified by the USA Track and Field Association. This was the first 5K of the season for Quince Orchard High School cross-country team, and many of them placed in the respective age groups. 11-year-old Ashwarya Narala, who attends Lakelands Park Middle School, won the 5K t-shirt design contest this year, and I have one to show you. Frederick resident Billy McManus was the top male finisher in 15:56. This is a 5:08 pace per mile, and the female finisher was Jessica McGuire of Arlington, Virginia in 1841, or a 6:01 pace per mile. This event serves as the Maryland State Olympics 5K event for those 50 and over. At age 93, Roy Englert of Springfield, Virginia, finished in 40:37, and he beat many of the other 5K walkers and runners. This event benefits local charities, including a $10,500 contribution to the city's Dolores C. Sawyer Scholarship Fund. Including this amount, the foundation has donated $142,856 in the past 15 years. As a result of their generosity, Gaithersburg children are able to participate in the city's summer camp program. I personally want to thank Chris Campbell, who couldn't be present tonight due to basketball coaching responsibilities. Due to a vacancy, Chris stepped right up to the start line without hesitation and led the team across the finish line.
Tonight, so I have to get. All right. Okay. You don't want to get one with the T-shirt on?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Thanks.
You guys like to sing?
We're very proud of the support that we have been able to grant the Dolores Sawyer Scholarship Fund. We have had the opportunity to meet some of the direct beneficiaries, and we are very happy of the impact that it has on the children of our city. And we're committed to continue to contribute that towards the years to come. And I invite you that if you haven't run the 5K, it's not too late to start training. So we'll start sign-ups pretty soon, and we'll get have it all out so all of you can participate if you so wish to. And I just want to also say thank you to the city for the great support that they always give us throughout the 5K. It's an excellent event, but without their support, it wouldn't be the same. So thank you.
And I would like to invite Police Chief Mark Soroka to the podium.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, city staff, the officers being recognized here tonight, and their family members and guests. And I especially want to thank the family members and the guests of the 3 award recipients that are here tonight. Thank you for your attendance. Tonight I'm going to present 2 officers with the 2016 Officer of the Year Award and 1 sergeant with the 2016 Supervisor of the Year Award. In prior years, there's only been 1 officer recognized as the Officer of the Year because it is conceptually desirable to have only 1 award winner. However, based on the demonstrated strong performance of Officer Michelle Kirk and Detective Robert Schrey, coupled with their significant contributions to the department and the community in different ways based on their assignments, with Officer Kirk being assigned to patrol and Detective Schrey being assigned to the investigation sections. Their job functions and responsibilities couldn't be more different. And as a result, the Awards Review Committee was unable to make a clear distinction of who was most deserving to receive the award. So without a factual basis to distinguish between the 2 and take into consideration their significant contributions to the city as a whole and this police department, it was unanimous that we felt as a command staff that both officers were equally deserving of the award, and that's why we have 2 this year, as opposed to previous years where we only had 1 award winner. Recognizing officers for exemplary performance is one of the most enjoyable things that I get to do in my position because of the hard work, personal sacrifices, and commitment to excellence that it takes to achieve this recognition. Each one of these award recipients know that success is the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from one's mistakes. Although the police department has 13 different formal awards, I believe the Officer of the Year and Supervisor of the Year awards are the most prestigious because the award recipients must sustain outstanding performance over an entire year as compared to the other awards that may be received for a single act. The award recipients each have in common a strong commitment to doing their very best and striving to constantly improve themselves and other department members. They have a total commitment to being the very best they can be, and they motivate the other people around them. They know that teamwork is the foundation for the success of the police department. Officer Michelle Kirk and Detective Robert Schray's high quality and volume of work set them apart from their peers. They always report to work with a positive attitude and demonstrate a steadfast commitment to the mission of the police department to serve and protect. In the area of traffic enforcement for 2016, Officer Kirk issued 428 citations and 1,079 warnings in furtherance of the department's efforts to reduce traffic collisions. Additionally, Officer Kirk handled 786 primary calls and completed 206 written reports. Of particular importance is that Officer Kirk had over 1,500 citizen contacts, which did not result in a single citizen's complaint. Officer Kirk also contributed to the department's mission and efforts by attending job fairs and by serving as an assessor for officer candidate applicant oral interview boards. Officer Kirk has an outstanding work ethic that is complemented by a service-minded attitude that favorably represents the entire police profession. Detective Robert Schray's high quality and volume of work set him apart from his peers in the investigation section amongst the detectives. In the area of criminal enforcement last year, Detective Schray led an armed robbery investigation, an aggravated assault investigation, and a burglary investigation that resulted in each case being closed with a total of 27 arrests. Also last year, he carried the highest caseload amongst the detectives with 43 cases assigned, and he made a total of 46 adult and juvenile apprehensions. Throughout the year, Detective Schray demonstrated the ability and willingness to do whatever is asked or required of him to bring criminal cases to a successful resolution. Detective Schray embodies the core values of service, integrity, and respect. For their outstanding commitment to duty, professionalism, and contributions to the citizens of the city of Gaithersburg and to the police department, I am proud to bestow and distinguish Officer Michelle Kirk and Detective Robert Schray as the Gaithersburg Police Department's 2016 Officers of the Year. If you two would come forward.
You guys go that way a little bit. You're in the middle. There, right there.
Hold them up. Okay, and one more.
The next award I'm going to present is for the Supervisor of the Year. Last year, Sergeant Ray Campbell supervised the Operations Bureau Patrol Shift 2 while maintaining a professional and empathetic relationship with all of the officers. He demonstrated sound performance while leading Shift 2, and he provided active supervision that inspired motivation, outstanding shift performance, and he also ensured constitutional policing. In 2016, Sergeant Campbell performed his supervisory and administrative duties in an exemplary manner and displayed compassion and courtesy in addressing the concerns of citizens. Sergeant Campbell has good communication skills and often responded to calls for service to assist other officers who were interacting with hostile individuals. In many cases, Sergeant Campbell, with the assistance of other officers, managed to de-escalate the situation that resulted in a peaceful resolution. Sergeant Campbell performed at an outstanding level while displaying self-initiative and professionalism. It is inspiring and reassuring to be witness to an individual who realizes the importance of that which is required of him and unselfishly devotes the energy and time above that which is expected in order to maintain the professionalism and excellent reputation of the Gaithersburg Police Department. For his outstanding commitment to duty, professionalism, and contributions to the citizens of the city of Gaithersburg and to the police department, I am proud to bestow and distinguish Sergeant Ray Campbell as the Gaithersburg Police Department's 2016 Supervisor of the Year.
One more, sorry. You can still clap. Thank you.
Congratulations again to all. Next item on our agenda is public comments. This is the time when the mayor and council would like to hear from anybody who'd like to speak on any topic other than a public hearing topic. Tonight we have 2 public hearings regarding zoning ordinance amendments. So if you're here to speak on those, then just hold on, we'll get to that. If you're here to speak on anything else, this is the time. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, that you state your name and address or neighborhood for the record. And when your time is down to 30 seconds, the timer will beep and turn yellow. When your time's up, it will beep and turn red. Who would like to be our first speaker?
I'm Aaron Rosenzweig of TeamGaithersburg.org. I live in Wesley with my wife, children, and chickens. Compliance. Tonight I want to talk about compliance. We create rules to comply for safety, for ethics, for any number of reasons. That's why I want to ask the City Council, why is it that we don't adhere to the state's ethics laws? I contacted Hogan's office, and Hogan's office told me that since 2013, the state has been trying to get the city to comply, and the city just doesn't want to listen. In fact, 1 year ago today, they issued a statement. They say that the city allows public officials to receive gifts from people seeking to do business with the city, bribes. It says that city officials don't have to disclose property that they own outside of the city. You know, some piece of property that might get annexed someday. It goes on and it goes on. It talks about business interests. In fact, there's no way for us to know if you guys have a conflict of interest because you don't comply with the state ethics laws. It says, I quote, "The city of Gaithersburg has not indicated to the State Ethics Commission that there is any intention to alter their ethics law to incorporate the required changes and has failed to outline a plan for a good faith effort." How is this a city where character counts? Is there any one of you, out of your own goodwill, that will just comply with these? Everything that the state asks. Can I see a raise of hands?
Please go on with your statement.
That speaks volumes, Mayor. I don't understand why you wouldn't comply. There have been times that you've created drafts that would comply and you take them away. There's absolutely no reason. Can you give me a reason why you won't comply with the ethics laws? You know, right now, the city is rewriting their ethics laws so that we can't cross-examine people that we report. They're spending all kinds of time for that. You know, I asked the Hogan's office, I said, why? What can you do? So we can, of course, we can take the city to court. But we keep thinking they're just lazy. Are you lazy, Mayor? Or do you have something to hide? Why can't you comply?
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers this evening?
Would you like a copy?
Please,
Give it to
please to the city clerk, please. Any other speakers? Yes, please, come on up.
Testing. My name is Steve Lawrence, and I'm a local
Steve,
resident.
you want to just grab the microphone? Yeah, just point it towards you. There you go.
I left my elevator shoes at home, sorry. Dear Mayor and City Council members, I wanted to thank you for listening to me today, and to all the other citizens that have stood here before me and you over the years. This is a great capability and process. A lot of cities, and people realize, a lot of cities don't have that. I'm here today to express my support, though, for a February vote regarding the Johnson annexation, X70672105, with a full quorum, right? There's so much important issues in that annexation, not to follow due process and procedures. I apologize to you and to the well-paid Johnson team for the time that this topic has consumed, and I know it's engulfed us all. But I really want to apologize to the more than 600 families, spouses, children, and fathers that have been impacted, that spend thousands of hours working, grappling, and agonizing with this topic. It's in comparison to everything that you've seen so far, or what the Johnsons have felt. We are trying desperately to get the attention of our elected officials and to have them vote to represent the people. As it was at our country's founding through Abraham Lincoln's time to even current day, it's imperative that government of the people be led by the people, for the people. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers this evening? Not seeing any. We will move on to our public hearing, our first public hearing. And this one is a joint public hearing, so we're going to invite the Planning Commission to join us up here. And our City Attorney, Lynn Ward, will be leading us in this proceeding.
Good evening. As the mayor has indicated, we have two public hearings this evening, the first being a joint public hearing, and the second public hearing not being joint. However, these two issues are related, so I'm going to give some introductory remarks to begin with, and I'll focus specifically on the changes to Chapter 24. These ordinances that are before you this evening are a result of a very lengthy process by the city staff to take a look at a number of our ordinances that deal with public improvements and how we secure those improvements and also how we accept those improvements. So the ordinances before you are to address those two primary issues, our requirements of bonding or other security for public improvements, and to implement a better process for acceptance of those public improvements. So staff reviewed the city's bonding process for public improvements, and we found that throughout the city code, when you looked at that process, it was a little bit different depending what section. If it was for stormwater, it might be different than for site plan, might be different than forest conservation. And we had gotten questions from developers through the years that they thought this was confusing. You know, they weren't really sure what process they were under for which type of permit that they were applying for. So we thought that it would be a good idea to standardize these processes, to streamline the process for developers, but also to ensure that the city was fully secured when public improvements are being constructed. So what we have done is, again, looked at all those requirements and have made changes throughout the city code, or proposing changes throughout the city code to require some consistency. So I want to first focus on the ones to Chapter 24, which is again why the Planning Commission was here. All of these ordinances were introduced by the Mayor and Council on December 5th. So with Chapter 24, we are amending Chapter 24-1, which adds a new definition of formal acceptance of public improvements that does require a process that would be approved by the city manager or designee. In Section 24-171, which is the site plan review procedures, It removes subsection K, which is bonding language, but then that language is moved, it doesn't completely go away, it is moved to a new section 24-176A. So in this new section 176A, which deals with site work permits, this is a new section that establishes a site work permit process. It creates bonding requirements for the permit consistent with the bonding requirements that we are also going to require in chapters 8, 19, 20, and 22 of the city code, including that the improvements would be fully bonded with a 10% contingency for the work, that the city would have the right to forfeit those bonds and to take the money and complete the improvements if a developer would fail to either complete the improvements or would not do sufficient quality of work for the city's acceptance. It would prohibit persons from interfering with the access to the property so that the city could go on the property and complete the work if needed. It specifies the requirements for releasing the bonds or security. It allows for persons interested in the improvements to comment before we would release the bond, so that way if an HOA was not happy with the improvements, they could comment as well before we would release the bonds. And it also allows the city manager to require insurance coverage if we believe that the work may create a significant danger to health, safety, or welfare. And then in in section 24-177, which is the building permit section, this would provide a site work permit prior to building permit, and it removes the exemption for single-family dwellings, two-family dwellings, and semi-detached dwellings. So all those would, again, have to be required to have a permit. And that's consistent, I guess we made a change to section 24-168 several years ago to allow that, and then we just didn't change the correlating section. So it was required in one place and not required in the other place. So again, we're trying to do a little cleanup and have some consistency here. This section would also exempt only single-family residents from the requirement that building plans be signed by a professional architect registered in the state, rather than applying the exemption to all family residences. So with that said, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission hold their record open until 5 p.m. on Thursday, January 26th, with the anticipated recommendation of February 1st of 2017, and that the Mayor and Council hold their record open until 5 p.m. on Friday, February 3rd, 2017, with an anticipated policy discussion on February 21st, 2017. And staff is happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Lynn. I mean, strikes me as general housekeeping and standardization of our processes. I really don't have any questions or comments. Anybody here?
Similar observation. I think it's good. It's high time that we have pursued this, completed the process.
Okay, well then, I will open it up to anyone from the public. Raise your hand if there's anybody in the public who'd like to speak on this public hearing topic. Okay, please come on up. We ask that you state your name and address or neighborhood for the record, and you keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Goodman. I'm in the community Orchard Knolls, which is right across the street from the Kentlands. I had a couple of questions because from the language that was used, I didn't hear any access for the surrounding neighborhoods and communities that are affected by these, what was the term used, improvements? Where is the voice of the community to voice their concerns or objections, or have some say in this new change with the policies? Because it seems that it's streamlining it, but it's really kind of cutting out the community voice in the process as well.
Great. Lynn, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. I would be happy to. With the changes, and I mentioned earlier, we had moved some language around from one section to another section, but in the new section 24-176A, it does allow for interested persons to have a right to comment before the city releases the bond. This is the section that would allow, if any community member or just anyone in the public in general would have a concern over
the workmanship that's been done or not done, the quality of the improvements, they would have the ability to contact the city, and the city would take that into consideration prior to release of either the bond or security for those improvements.
But was there some mechanism that the community had that we're eliminating through this?
Well, we just shifted it from one section of the code to another section just for consistency sake. It was in section 124-171, and it's now been moved to 24-176A.
But other than that, is there an impact on a resident or a community that would want, other than where it lives in our code?
Yeah, no, it does not take away any rights, and in fact, in my opinion, I believe it strengthens a little bit the right that the citizens would have to voice their comments and concerns prior to releasing the bonds.
Okay.
And what about a notification requirement? Because we went through this issue with my community, which, as we all know, or some may know, is a rather new community. In particular, with respect to road improvements, sidewalks, where the city came through and required the developer to make certain changes, repairs and whatnot, but the community was really left in the dark with respect to whether bonds were being released, when they were being released, when streets are being turned over, and all that. Is that really done just by procedure here in the city, or is there something? Because it was a concern when we were doing.
Yeah, I mean, the language in the ordinance does say the city manager or his designee shall promulgate a administrative procedure for notification of interested property owners. And part of what we've done in this process that you won't see in the ordinance itself is staff has worked to develop a number of checklists and forms that will be required prior to the release of the bonds. So the notification to the homeowners association and the residents will be part of that process.
So that notice is typically for residents of the community where the work is being
Correct.
done, not for surrounding communities.
Correct.
Hold on just once. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak on this topic? Jim, come on up. Lisa, I'm gonna let you have one follow-up. Well, hold on. I'll let you have a follow-up after Jim speaks.
My comment's actually fairly brief and more procedural. I just wanted to express
Jim,
appreciation.
State your name and address.
Jim Rolfes, 107 Manette Court. I just wanted to express appreciation for cleaning up the consistency in the documentation and streamlining the process. I think that it's helpful for good actors, helpful for the people who are trying to do the right thing, and I believe it also will help in enforcement for people who are trying to use that inconsistency to circumvent regulations. So just expressing appreciation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers this evening? Okay. Lisa, I'll give you another minute. Come on up to the microphone, please. I know you have a follow-up here.
Yeah, so just a little clarification. So when these communities are developed or proposed to an area, where is in the process is the communities that it affects? Because it may not be right in your next, in your backyard, but it affects your streets, your traffic, your schools, pollution, water. When is the community notified of the process so that they have an earlier say in the course of the development? Because what it seems like lately is the communities are notified when they see bulldozers and signs and traffic, and yet when they get these reports from the schools, from communities, they're kind of just not really given much credence.
All right. Your minute's up. I think we got the question.
Yeah.
I think, and I'll let Lynn respond as she'd like, but I think what you're getting at is a slightly different topic, which is notification for proposed development plans. And that's not addressed in here, correct, Lynn?
That's not addressed in this section of the ordinance that we're addressing to change. This is really once a project is approved and they're actually constructing the project. With regard to her question is more in the planning part of the project.
Right.
And, certainly, depending on the planning approvals, and John can probably chime in a little bit more detail, but there are a number of public notifications that go out, the property is posted, there's public hearings, there's a whole public process for that, and that's the opportunity for.
And there's a certain radius within which we have to
We
notify.
send postcards out and we
Yeah.
do other notifications, so that's part of the process where the public can be notified early in the process as to what the plan is for a development moving forward.
Can I suggest, Lisa, that if you want to get more to the bottom of that question, the gentleman sitting right in front of you, John Schlichting, is our Director of Planning and Code Administration. He's the foremost expert, and
And sending out postcards?
and he's glad, he or his staff are glad to explain the whole process in these cases to you. Okay, any further comments, having heard this back and forth? Okay, well, we have a recommendation.
We do. So staff is recommending that the Planning Commission hold their record open until 5 p.m. Thursday, January 26, 2017, with anticipated recommendation on February 1st, 2017. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Okay, staff recommends that we hold our record open until 5 p.m. Friday, February 3rd, 17 days, with anticipated policy discussion on February 21st. What's the pleasure of the council?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 3-0. Okay, thank you. As always, you're welcome to stay, Planning Commission. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
We will move to the second public hearing, which again is related. There are a number of ordinance changes similar to what we just discussed in Chapter 24. Again, Section 1-2 adds a new definition of formal city acceptance, similar to the definition, or identical to the definition that we just discussed in Chapter 24. And then there are a number of the sections that change the bonding and security requirements similar to those we just discussed in Chapter 24, and those are Section 827, Section 1913, 1913A, 2019A, 2062A, and 22.8. So they would provide the same bonding requirements for erosion and settlement control, stormwater management, streets and sidewalks, subdivision of land, and trees and forest conservation. Then the second group of changes are to sections 810, 820, and 1916, and these address the acceptance of public improvements. So there would be a similar acceptance process for these types of improvements. Then we do have a couple just kind of cleanup provisions as we were going through. Section 8-7, which is in the erosion and sediment control section, clarifies that the permit fee for erosion and sediment control includes the cost of city inspections. Section 8-23 clarifies that a permit may not be issued for final erosion, sediment control, or stormwater until plans have been approved, which would include recorded easements and covenants and provision of liability insurance. Section 2212 amends the tree size requirements for priority retention under the city's forest conservation program. So again, staff is recommending the mayor and council hold its record open until 5 p.m. January 27th with the anticipated policy discussion on February 21st.
Thank you very much. Again, same comments apply here. It seems like housekeeping and all makes sense here. Any questions, comments? Is there anyone here who'd like to speak on this public hearing topic? Not seeing any. Staff recommends that we hold our record open for 10 days till 5 p.m. January 27th with anticipated adoption on February 21st, 2017. What's the pleasure of the council?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 3-0. Thank you very much, Lynn. John? Next, we have from the mayor and city council. We're going to start with council member Sesma.
Okay, good evening. I have an announcement about District 17 night in Annapolis. We announced this a couple weeks ago, but here's some revised details. Notice to the public, general public is hereby given that in lieu of a work session, Mayor and City Council of Gaithersburg staff and residents will join the Maryland District 17 delegation for their District 17 night in Annapolis reception on Monday, January 30th, 2017. A light dinner will be served from 6 to 8 p.m., followed by an opportunity to observe the Maryland House and Senate sessions at 8 p.m. The reception will be held in West 1 and West 2 of the Miller Senate Office Building, 11 Blayton Street, Annapolis, Maryland. Photo identification will be required to enter. Separate RSVPs are required for both the reception and transportation. To RSVP for the reception, please send an email to staff@cherylkagan.org. To reserve a seat on the city bus, please contact Legislative Affairs Manager Monica Marquina at 301-258-6310. Note that bus seating is limited and is on a first-come, first-served basis. For more information and the official announcement, please visit the city's website at www.gaithersburgmd.gov or contact the city manager's office at 301-258-6310. So if there's not room on the bus, we encourage you to attend the reception anyway. Just make sure you register at cherylkagan.org so that you can be counted in the, so that they know how many people they might have to feed as well. And you're welcome to join us with the delegation, even if you're not on the bus. So just a couple of remarks. I want to congratulate Officers Kirk and Schrey on their recognition as Officers of the Year, and for Sergeant Campbell for the recognition as Supervisor of the Year. We thank them. They exemplify the service and the dedication to service and to the public welfare that we expect from our police department. So they're great role models for their fellow officers, and we want to thank them and acknowledge their service. I want to, so yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service in the city of Gaithersburg and throughout the region. Our partner in the Day of Service was Seneca Creek Community Church on First Field Road. Council member Wu, Mayor Ashman, and myself were there to contribute some to the effort. We participated in a number of different activities. But we were really, I think we were all moved to see the level of participation, both from members of the Seneca Creek Church community church membership, but also from a number of people who aren't regular members or aren't even members of that community, who decided to come and spend a few hours in a day of service to the community. So I want to thank all those people who attended. I want to thank Seneca Creek Community Church for their partnership with the city on this, and I want to thank the staff to help organize some of that event. And also a number of sponsors who provided materials that were used to create some of the things that the different activities organized, and we'll distribute both to our police officers, to homeless individuals, cards to our service members abroad, a number of other things like that. So again, thanks. I want to remind you that, or maybe this is the first announcement of this from the dais, but registration is open now for a measured mile run in the city of Gaithersburg through the streets of Old Town, through a street of Old Town on East Diamond. The Mia de Mayo will be held on May 6th. So you can check the city's webpage for details on that. Again, I'm challenging anybody who wants to run a mile against me and see if they
Challenge
can.
accepted.
Okay, so last year you chickened out, so I'll still be there anyway. All right. And then while we're talking about races, I want to thank the Kentlands Community Foundation again for their partnership, for our long partnership with them, for offering and holding probably the most popular among the running community 5K in Montgomery County. A very successful event with a long history, but a big part of that history has been their commitment to serving the community through their philanthropic acts, and in this case, donating well over $100,000 over a long period of time to the Dolores Sawyer Scholarship Fund, which enables children from families of low income to participate in the city's youth activities. So I want to thank them again, and proud to have been a participant in the events for the last 10 years in those races. And again, I'm always happy to meet the challenge of anybody else who wants to run. So, and encourage all elected officials to show up in Gaithersburg for that run. So it's a good time to start training for that one. Mayor, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Sessman pretty much covered all the topics I wanted to cover, so I'm just going to read this announcement. Revised special session, closed executive session announcement. Notice to the general public is hereby given that the mayor and city council of Gaithersburg plan to conduct special sessions on Wednesday, January 25th and Thursday, January 26th, 2017 at the Kentlands Mansion, 320 Kent Square Road, solely to make a motion to hold closed executive sessions. Immediately following the special sessions, the mayor and city council will conduct closed executive sessions pursuant to the general provisions article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, section 3-305B1I. The appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom it has jurisdiction. The purpose of the closed session are to solely interview council applicants.
Thank you, Rob. Neil.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to read the official announcement, which is a Board of Appeals interview announcement. Notice to the general public is hereby given that members of the mayor and city council and city staff plan to conduct an interview for a candidate seeking to fill the vacant position on the Board of Appeals. The interview is scheduled for Monday, January 23rd, beginning at 6:45 p.m. at City Hall, 31 South Summit Avenue, second floor gallery. The public is welcome to attend, but public comment will not be permitted. For more information, please contact Municipal Clerk Doris Stokes at 301-258-6310. So first of all, since I was on travel over the holiday, this is my first meeting of the new year. I want to wish everyone a happy new year and hope you all had a great holiday season. Last week, we had one of the first kind of political lobbying events of the year where a number of us went to Annapolis for the Maryland Municipal League's annual event where we welcomed the state delegation. This year, for the first time that I've seen in my tenure here, the governor and lieutenant governor both came and met with the crowd. And I know that Councilmember Spiegel had a chance to put in a good word for the Watkins Mill interchange with Governor Hogan. So that was great. We had representatives, and I'm taking some of Ryan's normal speaking points since he's not here tonight, but representatives from 157 municipalities representing 1.5 million residents of Maryland were represented by the MML, who were lobbying for a number of areas that are very important to municipalities and residents therein. Let's see, tomorrow we have the first meeting of the new year for the Transportation Planning Board. And I'd like to give a quick shout out to the new incoming chairman of that organization, Mayor Newton of Rockville. And I know she's firmly committed to trying to improve the transportation and traffic situation in this area, who, as many of you have heard me say before, the 25-year plan that makes things 70% worse in this region is not my idea of a good plan. And we're working shoulder to shoulder to see if we can come up with something better that makes more sense for us. I also want to put a shout out to my friends in Australia. I spent 2 weeks over the holidays in Australia, and I have to say that although Gaithersburg remains the greatest city in the world, Sydney, Australia is giving us a run for our money, and we need to step up our game. It was awesome down there. I mean, the fact that it's summer certainly didn't hurt, but Sydney is like San Francisco with Hawaii's beaches. It was amazing, and seeing some of the wildlife and the friendly people down there was really a great memorable visit. And partly due to the remaining jet lag from the 16-hour time zone difference, I want to violate my own policy and address some of what Aaron had to say tonight during his talk. And I saw the gavel come up, so don't aim it in my direction.
Just in case.
Just in case.
I'm just kidding.
I appreciate that. You know, for the last couple of years, Aaron has been coming to these meetings and saying various things that are on his mind, and that's fine. That's certainly his right. But I think that what he said today was really very very wrong, frankly. I don't know what input he got from the governor's office. I wasn't privy to that conversation. There certainly has been an ongoing lack of complete agreement and accord between ourselves as the city and the state's ethics commission in terms of what exactly needs to be in the law. But we certainly have ethics laws, and we certainly disclose basically everything that Aaron said we don't disclose. Anybody who's in the public who wants to go to the website will see that everybody who runs for office, not just the people who are elected, but any candidate has to disclose what property they own, any gifts that were accepted, any companies that they have ownership in that do business with the city. So I think it was really even more unfair than usual what was said tonight, and I just wanted to make sure that the public understands that we are certainly very committed to high ethical standards here, and I thought that saying that we weren't was really wrong. All right, thank you.
Thank you. I know staff was out there with us at the Martin Luther King Day of Service yesterday, and I know they had some images that they, like a slideshow or something. So I'm hoping that they're going to start showing it. We can sort of point to, there we go. So as Mike mentioned, we have our city Martin Luther King Day of Service event at the Seneca Creek Community Church on First Field, and from what I understand, there were 500 or more volunteers yesterday doing all kinds of things, and as Mike mentioned, he and Councilmember Wu and I and several staff were there, and we just had a great time in the great spirit of giving back to the community. And you know, this kind of volunteerism and generosity happen every day in this community, but it's the MLK Day of Service is sort of symbolically a day where where it's really highlighted and it shows how the people of this community step up to make it, continue being the greatest city in the world. So it makes us very happy to be a part of that. And I know we actually have a good time in what we're doing there. So I hope that next year everyone will join us, and it'll be even bigger because they have a great facility there at that church. I wanted to note that next Monday's work session, we have 2 items. First, we have statements from the 5 finalists for the city council position. Everyone's good. Each gets a 3-minute statement, and so we're looking forward to that. And then the second topic is a follow-up discussion on pesticide use within the city and other related state and county legislation. And we're going to move on to from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple items tonight. Today, the county council deliberated and voted on a bill that raised the minimum wage. The vote was such that it actually is not a veto-proof bill, so we're waiting to see what the county executive is going to do. This would raise the minimum wage to $15 by 2020. So it certainly has the effect of having some impact on the pricing of some of our recreation programs, et cetera. So we're going to watch it, and then once the enrolled bill comes out, with whatever amendments were put in today, we'll analyze it and get back to you guys about what it is we recommend that we do. But it will be a substantial amount of money.
Yeah. As a small business owner, and as someone who recognizes the noble intent, I certainly see both sides of the issue.
Absolutely. I'm not sure that our part-time workforce is what they were aiming for, but that it is what it is, and we're part of Montgomery County as well. And we're also in a competitive situation for part-time workers. So there's all kinds of ways of looking at the issue. And when we get some numbers, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Secondly, last week we were notified by the Local Government Insurance Trust Risk Management Committee that we'll be receiving a training grant in the amount of $7,000. We're going to use that for de-escalation training. We're going to do something a little bit different. We won't only be sending police officers, we're going to be sending a number of field staff who interact with the public, such as inspectors. I want to specifically mention Lieutenant Chris Vance from the police department who completed the application to Legit.
Excellent.
And then finally, I mentioned 2 weeks ago that the virtual budget forum would launch, and it did yesterday on the 16th. And we're happy to report that a number of people did complete the short survey, I think 14 or 15 on the first day, which is more than we expected and more than we've received in previous years. So it's really great, and we're optimistic that we'll get some more.
Do we happen to have a slide for that?
I don't know. It is up on the website right
Okay.
now on the front page for 2 weeks.
All right, we all need to push that. I noticed Rob did. I know the rest of us should push that out on social media.
And then we'll recap the results, and they'll be part of the finance presentation, which kicks off the planning retreat in February.
Okay.
And that's all I have for that
Great.
topic.
I'm looking forward to see how that works. If it increases the engagement that we're getting from the public, then
Absolutely.
Great, excellent.
So far, so good.
And there's not. Really, we only have one direction we can go on
Yep.
this thing. Economic development update. And
I have that
Tom
as
is
well.
not-
So
Yes,
as
please.
you know, Tom is out of town due to some family obligations,
Yes.
and he's asked me to just read his report, which focuses on 2 events that they'll be partnering with relative to our economic development program. Next week, Tom and Sharon will be in Annapolis to participate in Economic Development Day, which is organized by the Maryland Economic Development Association. They'll be partnering with the new Montgomery County EDC on display space. The program offers a chance to raise the profile of the local economic development programs with state elected officials. And then secondly, economic development and planning staff have partnered on a technical assistance program with the Council of Governments, which is new. I had not heard of this before. They're going to study the Quince Orchard Road, Firstfield Road area with a focus. It will be the focus of an evaluation by a panel of outside professionals. He doesn't say what types of professionals, but I imagine they're real estate people and science people and government people. They're looking for ways to encourage investment in light industrial, flex, and low-rise office buildings, identifying mechanisms that the city can adopt to support the unique requirements of research and development in biotechnology, and study what capital improvements could enhance the area. So all of these sound a lot like us. In attracting new employers and expanding local companies, we're really limited because we mostly have redevelopment sites. There's a very small inventory of greenfield properties. So our economic development program has to encourage reinvestment in traditional business parks, a strategy we can pursue because we have a large inventory of light industrial buildings. We expect the Council of Governments will deliver the final recommendations this summer, and they specifically thank the planning staff for identifying the grant opportunity.
That's great.
All right.
Nice job.
Next, we're going to move on to ordinances, resolutions, regulations, and invite Yon Kim to the podium. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here for the resolution of GI infrastructure stormwater database design and population project. We had an RFP process. There were 13 companies who submitted proposals. We rated top 4 technical companies' technical proposals and further reviewed and refined the price proposals and technical proposal. After review, we have the selection committee decided that Special Systems Associates were the best, providing best proposal with the best price and best technical proposal. So here we are requesting the mayor and councils to grant a resolution to negotiate enter contract with Special Systems to work on GIS infrastructure stormwater database.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
I do have one, just to understand what we're doing here. I understand the design piece. What does populating mean in this case?
Okay, so design, you understand that we are going to, our stormwater database is 12 years old and it's been kind of growing out of need. So it has not been very systematically designed. So we are going to look at all the best data model and also look at the database requirement from MDE to make sure we build a good structure to contain the data. But then once we have a structure, we need to populate the database information that we need. And since it's a GIS database, when we say populate, we'll be working on both the geometry, meaning the location and the shape of all the stormwater features that we are interested in. So if there's stormwater pipes, we'll be making sure that they are represented in the right location, right lengths, and all the manholes and inlets are placed in the right place. And also, not only will be populating all this location and shape information, we'll be also populating attribute informations, because in that way, when we want to investigate certain manhole and just click it in the GIS, all the related information that we care about that certain feature will be available. So population basically meaning we will be putting all these necessary information into database so that it's easily accessible.
And not just data entry, but this is more intense.
Well, I mean, they're actually going out and looking inside the manholes and sewers?
That's more of a field verification piece. This one, for this project, they'll be relying on existing documents. So we'll be providing thousands of stormwater plans and as-builts and engineering records. Any information we have for the stormwater infrastructure, we'll be providing them in digital format, and they'll be the one who's reviewing all this information and extract the information that we need and put them into database.
Okay. Understood, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
So have we worked with spatial systems before?
We have not had a chance to work with spatial systems, but they are very well-established company located in Maryland, and they have worked on very similar project with other jurisdictions in Maryland County. So that was another point that we
Thank
scored
you. Yeah,
this
that was going
company
to be
high.
my next question. So
Right.
if they've worked with other
Yes,
local
they
governments,
have.
that's a good
Yes.
thing. So
Yes.
Rob?
No, I don't see anything here about, I see the technical scores, but I don't see anything about how you evaluated, what you evaluated, what the prices were offered from the other offerors. Are you able to just give me a short summary of why Spatial Systems Associates is being recommended to be chosen here?
Sure. When we when in the first round of technical proposal scoring, we had 4 or 5 different established standard areas, such as whether they understand the proposals, the understanding of proposals, and then their proposed work approach and their technical capability. And one of the point that we also looking at the company and also the proposed members that they propose for this particular project, whether they have enough technical capacity, and also one of the whether they have worked on similar projects and such. So we scored all the companies based on this scoring criteria. And also when we did the second round, or actually even the first round, we also created a very extensive spreadsheet while we were reviewing technical proposals. We came up with a very specific technical features that we were interested in. For example, were they applying almost real-time database access to while they are building so that we can check their progress, and also in their data QA/QC process, how rigorous are they proposing to their data QC process, and if they had, even in our RFP process, we were also already requesting certain level of QA/QC, but Spatial System was one of the company that had, even on top of what we required, they had another internal QC process to make sure data integrity and such. Pricing-wise, I did not provide all the price information, but I feel very lucky that we had a couple of companies who were technically very competent and also gave us not the lowest, but very close to the affordable price range for us. There are many companies with technical proposal rated low, but were asking twice or even almost 3 times more for this project.
What was the lowest price? I don't even know who it was. I just want to know if we're in the
The
same
lowest
ballpark.
lowest bid was 150,000. That is not requiring additional services because this project has 5 parts of the task, and the additional services were more unit pricing. So that part was not compared when we are just comparing base prices. So
Okay.
150 is just for the base price.
And so spatial has additional features baked into his $185,000?
Yes, so
Okay.
this includes all the base price that we compare, and then additionally, we are hoping to have thousands or more field verification. That was additional piece. And also, while we are working on these projects, more plans might come online. So we wanted ability to send them more plans later on. So that's also including this $185,000.
So we've heard recently about the plan for a data-driven system for the pavement management and building a database of that. Is this part of the stormwater planning process as we're going forward? Is this the mapping of all the stormwater systems in GIS an integral component of that?
There's a similar context. I mean, pavement management system is basically we are going to survey all the road pavement and have a system of records, and then we are going to plan our road management based on pavement system information. Stormwater system is a similar way. We are trying to have complete inventory of systems so that stormwater team can use this data in their planning. And assessing what we have and where we lack and where we are going to build next storm restoration projects and such.
Okay.
So the concept is the same, that we do like to plan and plan our work accordingly based on our data.
Okay, great.
Is there an opportunity or a reason why we couldn't have one database serving both functions to the pavement management system along with the stormwater?
I guess ultimately they are all GIS based.
Yeah.
So in any case, if there's a case that we have to look at road pavement conditions in conjunction with stormwater asset infrastructure, we will be able to bring them both into GIS and do analysis and comparisons and such. But data collection-wise, they are just two different assets, and they require different mechanisms. For example, payment management, it requires a special vehicle with a different sensors and different cameras and driving. So I guess it's just different approach for different data set that requires.
Okay. And so once this design and population is done for this database, what's going to be the maintenance and service for the whole
I mean,
project?
it's as important to maintain as to build. So once database is built, also part of the requirement is they are to provide us comprehensive manuals. So it is our hope the city step will follow the same procedure that they use in building database, and then continue maintaining by city staff members.
So just
in-house?
what you're saying is
in-house
we're going to do it once we have the database
Right.
populated, you'll be able to do the
Yes.
updating yourselves.
Yes.
Is that what usually happens in other?
It is
situations,
it
it's
is a
not
different.
serviced by
Some county they more local jurisdictions they actually continue hire the contractor as needed basis to help them maintain the database.
Okay.
And some local jurisdictions, if they have capacity in house, they try to maintain themselves. So I think both models can be seen.
So I guess the question is we have to make sure that we have in-house expertise to maintain this. Is that?
I believe we will be capable of maintaining the database. And also, when we go into maintenance model, another thing that we are hoping to have happen is that we'll also look into digital submission. So instead of having PDF file of a plan and then step going back and tracing those information, manually typing again, we are looking into, since you already draw this plan, would you be able to give us the data so that we can just copy and paste and put it into GIS system? And if you already have all this attribute information, we should be able to format the information into certain table so that it can be easily imported into GIS database. So we'll be looking into a way to make it easier for staff member to maintain. But yes, we will make sure that staff has a chance and opportunity to properly train to maintain this database once it's built.
Would someone like to move the resolution?
I'll move the resolution.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And next, I believe next is from any other city staff. I believe we have a presentation from Parks and Rec.
Again, good evening. On October 10, 2016, I presented to you the proposed merger of Celebrate Gaithersburg and Independence Day into one signature event to be held on July 1, 2017, the first Saturday before the 4th. We thank you for your support and approval of this proposal and for all your valuable feedback. We are excited by all that this new event will offer our community. And I am joined by Denise Kays, our Division Chief of Arts and Events. Staff has given considerable thought to the feedback you provided on our original proposal, and in particular, your concerns about the proposed event hours being too long and the layout too spread out for families to enjoy the entire festival. Tonight, I would like to provide you with two options for your consideration that we believe will address your concern, and we have a short PowerPoint for you. On your screen? There we go. So Celebrate Independence Day in Gaithersburg is still a working title, as PIO and staff hope to finalize the title soon. First, both options that I will outline tonight will include many similar features. In both cases, as we did in 2016, the water park and skate park will be open their normal hours, 11 to 7, will be decorated for the holiday, and offer activities, entertainment, and giveaways throughout the day. Building on the success of last year, the water park will be open to residents and members as part of our efforts to increase and retain resident use. The miniature golf course will be open to the general public, and the skate park will be open from 3 to 11, but closed during the fireworks for safety. The activity center will open its normal hours since it is not a holiday, and at 5 p.m. the building will be filled with activities. The facility will serve as a comfort and cooling station, and ATMs will be in the lobby for convenience of attendees. Both options will also have the fireworks at dusk, with viewing and parking maps made available again this year on the city's website and on site. As we did in 2016, we are working with surrounding churches, shopping centers, and schools to secure extra parking in viewing areas. Following the fireworks, we will again use light towers and the stadium lights at Gaithersburg High School to illuminate the park and the surrounding trails for pedestrian safety. Finally, both options will have an after party in Borough Park with a headliner, late night snack vendors, glow-in-the-dark entertainment and activities. This will not only provide additional entertainment, but it should help mitigate traffic congestion by spreading out the flow of patrons leaving the event. The two options that I'd like to present tonight address the remaining aspects of the event, and those that will specifically address your feedback, the festival's hours and layouts. The map on your screen provides a general layout for option A, with activities in Old Town and Borough Park. This is the layout offered in our original proposal on October 10th, with decreased event hours to address concerns that the hours in the original proposal were too long. Option A has activities in Old Town from 5 to 8 instead of 2 to 7, as initially proposed, and then activities in Borough Park starting at 7 p.m. instead of 6. Festival activities in Borough Park would end at 9 p.m. prior to the fireworks and resume with the after party. For a better idea of what we would look like, we have close-ups of both areas. This map shows the event layout in Old Town. To orient you, South Summit Avenue is at the top of the map and the railroad tracks are to the right. The festival activities in Old Town from 5 to 8 would include a headliner on the concert pavilion and a community stage in Griffith Park. Beer tastings, antique car show, and food trucks would be in the parking lot, and activities, inflatables, and more would be scattered throughout the area. Then in Boer Park, beginning at 7, there will be a headliner band on the mobile stage, acrobatics, stilt walkers and balloon artists, and other entertainers throughout the park. Both paid and free activity vendors will offer face painting, plaster, craft, hair decorating, and more. Family fun and competitive inflatables such as human foosball will be available for all ages. Food vendors will be at 2 locations in the park, the main food court in front of the Manor House and a small location at the picnic playground area. Option B. This map shows the alternative layout. As in option A, the festival hours are proposed to begin at 5. All the festival activities offered in the 2 locations of option A will be offered in 1 location in option B here at Boer Park. This would offer a more condensed, easier to navigate festival layout, and it would create quite a wow factor. We also have close-ups of this option for you. With this option, we could have some of the event activities inside the activity center. Not only could the facility serve as a cooling and comfort station, but it would also have inflatables, DJ, other activities in the building, similar to what we did in 2016 when we had to move July 4th indoors, creating the largest indoor lawn party, drawing thousands. In the parking lot in front of the activity center, we would set up a large tent for beer tastings, offer a DJ or band for music, and antique professional car show. Other entertainment would be provided by strolling entertainers, games, and other activities. Parking would still be available on the water park side of the activity center and at Gaithersburg High School. And the parking spaces that we would lose would be regained by the spaces we wouldn't use at City Hall if the entire event were held at Boer Park. In this map, the green circle is the parking lot between hospice caring office and the barn. In that space, we would set up a community stage, inflatables, and have summer-themed activities. The large red and blue circles indicate 2 of the great open areas in the park. The third one is where the fireworks will be staged. In those areas, we'd set up the main stage with a headliner. Like in option A, we plan for lots of family fun and competitive inflatables, aerialists, acrobats, still walkers, etc. Food vendors will be in the same 2 locations as in option A, the Manor House and the picnic pavilions. In summary, both options offer fireworks, the after party, great offerings in the facilities throughout the days. And at both options address concerns about the festival hours. That leaves the 2 proposed options for the festival layout, holding the event in 2 locations in option A, Old Town and Boer Park, or the entire event in Boer Park with option B. After much thought and consideration, the staff recommendation is for option B, holding the entire event in Boer Park in 2017. Doing so has many advantages. Branding, marketing, signage. PIO believes that branding and marketing the event, especially in the first year, will be more effective and impactful if it's held in 1 location. And we can clearly and succinctly drive people to the park and create a cohesive graphic and marketing identity for the event. Navigating the event. Once you're at the event, it'll be easier to find, people to find and enjoy all that the festival has to offer. Signage, event maps, and programs will be inherently clear and easier to understand, and it will be easier to find the entire festival using GIS, GPS, etc. with 1 address. Thirdly, a more compact event site will improve attendee experience, especially for those with smaller children or have difficulty walking long distances. We won't have 2 event sites competing with one another for patrons, and the fireworks at Boer Park, we are concerned that the activities in Old Town could be poorly attended. If in later years we need to expand the event due to high attendance, like we did Oktoberfest, we can expand into Old Town at that point in time, when the event is well established and widely known. Option B further reduces traffic mitigation in Old Town and annual street closures. 1 event location prevents the festival activities and resources from being split between 2 sites, creating a more robust event. If the event is held at Boer Park, the challenges in traversing Route 355 are lessened. and a compact, activity-filled, robust event will create the wow factor, something that we're always striving for. And finally, there is the uncertainty on the timing of the work to be done by WSSC in Old Town. The only negative is that the event won't be in Old Town, but on July 1st, we would have just had La Mia de Mayo and the Gaithersburg Book Festival in Old Town, and we'll be in the middle of the concert pavilion season, and the Labor Day Parade is just a few months away. Like all our events, we will conduct a thorough evaluation to see what worked and what improvements need to be made, including those to the hours and the layout. I'd like to thank Lauren Neal, Jenny Cottrell, and Denise Kaiser for their contributions to this presentation. I hope you've received adequate information to make an informed decision, and Denise and I are happy to answer any questions and receive your feedback and guidance.
Thank you for the presentation, for the thoughtful analysis. I appreciate how you took the comments from here in the dais a few months back, and clearly you've given a lot of thought. I am inclined to support the staff recommendation, although I am, as you correctly noted, Michelle, you know, the downside is taking it out of Old Town. I do think that you know, there is something to be said for the book festival and La Mia de Mayo and Labor Day Parade at the same time. You know, there's some tradition there, and so all that you correctly put your finger on those things, and that said, I'm willing to see how it works and give it a try. What's the pleasure of the council?
Well, you know, your point about taking it out of Old Town, we've never had it in Old Town. So, you know, we're not doing anything we haven't done before, at least on Independence Day. So I think it's better if we can concentrate our resources and staffing, that's better. I imagine that the chief would prefer to be able to have focused activities, focus his team as well. And I don't know, I'm sure that you talked to the police department about these plans as well, and got their opinion. I like the layout. I am a little bit worried about a beer garden, but I guess it's beer tasting and not a place where people would go and just get endless glasses of cups of beer. But I think, you know, we're using the space wisely, and you can certainly adjust that as the plans develop. So I like and in fact, you know, when I talked to staff about this, I also thought that spreading it out between two disparate sites had many more challenges than benefits. So I think the way that it happened last year, even though we had to cancel July 4th activities, I mean, the whole fireworks the event had a festival atmosphere to begin with. So it was easy to see how we could expand that and do some additional things. So I think it's going to be a big party in the city's backyard. I think or front yard. So I like the plans. And I'm anxious to hear a little bit more about some of the activities.
So is July 1st the date we've decided on, rather than on July 4th or the
Yes.
weekend? Okay. I pretty much agree with everything Mike just said. I can't believe I just said that. But yeah, the plan looks good. I think that the time frame looks good.